Hello there, blade fans, and welcome back to OG Blade Reviews on YouTube. Thanks for visiting, and you might have been interested in this Condor knife that just came my way. My own purchase from White Mountain Knives, and there's the box for some perspective. You can move some of the stuff in the wings off to the side till later. Condor, if you don't know it, has their blades made in El Salvador, where they are used to making machetes and other jungle type gear. Here's the catalog that they provided. A lot of interesting stuff at a budget level price. I don't think this was more than about $65, $70, somewhere in that ballpark. I'll leave you the link. You get a nice sticker. And you get this notification that it is made from 1075 tool steel and is thereby rustable. So you might have to put a little effort into maintenance on this one. It ain't stainless, and you can't neglect it. This is called, and you'll see this in just a moment, the Fighter. And I'm going to call it a Bowie clip. It is a nice, we'll call it a poor man's option. And I'm poor from time to time. I don't always have lots of stuff on hand. It is their Fighter, and there's Condor, El Salvador, the marking, kind of an enameled blade. I don't think it's a very fancy coating. I think it's probably something that will, in time, show some wear. It's not DLC or anything fancy or expensive like that. But polypropylene molded handle. It's actually quite comfortable. I went strictly on the visuals with this one in purchasing it, and it is my first Condor knife, perhaps in a long time. I think I might have one other in the pile somewhere. But the handle looks comfortable, is comfortable. It's on the smooth side, not particularly grippy, but you have kind of a built-in stop right here in that finger groove for your hand to not slide forward, and some effective jimping that's actually fairly bitey. So that works even with a coating on it. I selected this because I very often show some expensive high-end custom and high-end production knives on this channel because I tend to gravitate towards those. And I was looking for something that's useful, that doesn't need to be babied. You can beat it up a little bit. Fairly thin stock, I would say high grind, like 2/3 of the way up. And it is flat ground. We've got what feels to be a pretty decent edge on there. Although I did try some cuts earlier and wasn't super impressed with it. Let's see what happens. See if it got any sharper. Well, okay. Well, the first thing you might want to do with this Econo fixed blade is to at least strop it, or maybe put it on a ceramic, or simply redo the edge. It looks like the grind angle is fine. I wouldn't want to go much lower than that. And I'm pretty sure that you can put a perfect edge on that. 1075 is not a bad deal. 1095, closely akin. A very basic, I think they call it a cold work tool steel. And been around for a while, and I'm sure probably a lot of those World War II era and perhaps even Vietnam and Korea era blades were made from 1075 or 1095. Let's measure it up, and then I've got quite a few compares waiting in the wings here, and then we'll talk a little about the sheath as well. What have we got? It's a pretty good size medium combat style knife. I was going to say folder, fixed blade. We're going to call that 9.7 inches overall, with a 4.85 inch blade, cutting edge about 4.6. See what we got for other dimensions. So I am set to inches. Let's do you see the handle is contoured, heavily contoured, and that's nice since it's not exceptionally rough, but I wouldn't call it slippery either. You don't really know what's going to happen with a little water or other substances on the hand. 0.82 in the widest part, and we're at next down 0.60 inches. And the blade stock fairly thin, 0.10 and 2.6 millimeters. Finally, a weight on this, and we'll do it with and without the sheath, just because we can, and it might matter to you. Knife alone, 5.2, we'll call that, ounces. And in the sheath, 8 ounces. So about a 3-ounce sheath, is it? Something like that. Doesn't feel that heavy. Speaking of the sheath, it is a pre-formed molded sheath. Not sure what they call it. I know it's a polypropylene handle. Could be some sort of, it's not a Kydex and it's not Boltaron, okay? We've got a belt loop which can be removed, and you've got nice slots and grommets for whatever hardware, mounting hardware you want to put on there. It is labeled Condor and has their Condor insignia on there, logo. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Chicago type screws holding this platform on that holds the belt loop. So you probably want to put those back in to keep the sheath tight up in this area here, and you could probably adjust them if the tension was too tight. Right now it is fairly snug, although I can push it off with a thumb. It does lock in nicely with maybe, yeah, some rattle, if that matters to you. If you got to sneak up on people or you don't want to scare the deer or your whatever game you may be after. Got the belt loop here. We could probably slide a fairly flexible belt through there. Or, again, you can use it for DCC, Ulti-Clip, whatever you choose. Snap style lock on the belt sheath. It serves the purpose. It is, I think, a decent sheath for the price of the knife that you've got. Feels good in the hand and moves quite nicely, isn't overly heavy. Got a balance point right there, right where the finger goes, making it feel very light and lively. Well, an obvious comparison for me is the TKL FMF Frogman Field knife. And this is going to cost you a bit more, up around $3, I believe. Now, I'm not sure what the new prices are on these, but this one happens to be in AEBL, a stainless steel, a well-known stainless steel. And the edge you get is going to be an edge you can use. This is a laser as far as edge goes on it. How does it stack up size-wise? Well, it's about an inch longer, but close as we can get for comparisons today. I also have the Columbia River HZ6, had to look it up, out of SK5 tool steel, also a non-corrosion resistant steel. It's going to be longer yet than either of these two guys, and it is in the Otanashi style of blade that Williams likes to design. It is a Williams design, Columbia River made, and a handle that emulates a wrapped handle, but with these heavy grooves in here. This is almost an uncomfortable handle. I had to take some of the edges off on this one, but with gloves, you're perfect. And if your hand isn't too sensitive, I think you'll be fine as well. Much narrower blade, very, very, very piercy. That's a good piercy blade, and they're all good piercing blades, some with more cutting surface and belly than others. Finally, here is the Ryu, made by Fox and designed by Ken Vahikate of Black Rock Knives. Let's get them all up there. There it is. That's the Ryu. So as far as size goes, this is going to be the longest. This is going to be next up, I believe. A little bit shorter on the Frogman Tactical or Frogman Field Knife. And there you go. Those are the four for a compare today, or three compares, and our Condor. I kind of like the Condor for, obviously, you could pick up a couple of them, maybe three of them, maybe four of them for the price of some of these. Although this is more budgety. I think this is coming in just under 100. This guy here is going to be just under 200, somewhere in that vicinity. Can't recall all the prices. Very nice micarta handle on that, canvas micarta. They did a great job. This one is in, what is it in? Nylox. Nylox. That is a non-stainless steel or partially stainless steel that Fox likes to use, and so do some of the other Italian manufacturers. Put all these guys away. One thing about the sheath on the T-Cal, I think he makes some of the best sheaths going, and some really elaborate but inventive mounting hardware where you can take that off or keep it on that mount, and a tensioner here for jumping or other purposes. If you don't want that knife to come out when you don't want it to come out, you can slide this up and down and tension the sheath up here or lower down here. Right now I've got it exactly where I want it. Locks in beautifully, zero rattle, just amazing. In the Japanese style here, the HZ, what did I call it? Oh well, the the Columbia River, made by Williams. Not that tight a fit. I don't think it would fall out. Certainly not going to fall out. And you can't really tension it unless you remold the sheath. I wouldn't call it weak, but it's getting there. Let's get back to the Condor. Very lightweight knife compared to the others. I think we've got a full tang. Yeah, we do have a full tang because they're showing you. It's coming right out through the end of the molded handle there. So full tang with a lanyard hole. And with just a little bit of sharpening work, I think this would be a perfect utility blade, camp knife, tactical, military sort of a knife. I believe, the Condors are going to hold up. Again, they make a lot of machetes and South American kind of oriented indigenous blades that really do the job. So I wouldn't hesitate to use this and to bring it around with me, outdoors or wherever. Let me know what you think. Again, the Condor Fighter by Condor Tool. Be well, take care. And there's my logo. Click on it if you want to subscribe, and I hope you do if you haven't already. Be well.